Travelled a few miles today and we're at a place called Paestum Italy. So we've come to have a look around, see what we can see. This building is the Temple of Neptune. It was built around 460 BC. Fantastic looking building. I think it's the best preserved temple of Poseidon, Neptune. Such a fantastic structure. It's not clear which deity this temple was dedicated to, but it's presumed it was Poseidon because of the name of the town. The building very much looks like the Acropolis in Greece. A lot of Mediterranean influence came from this building on architecture. This building was known as the Basilica. Also, I should mention that Paestum is also a name linked with Poseidonia. The building took approximately 40 years to build, from 560 BC to 520 BC, also known as the Temple of Hera. The temple was built from sandstone, which is quite a highly porous material. How it still stands, I have no idea, but it is fantastic. The city is surrounded by these fantastic walls. At this end would have been the main gateway in to the city. Again, the entrance there, you could just make out the road that follows there and runs all the way down there through the city. The city's pretty much flattened now with just the outlines of the buildings, but what still stands are these fantastic temples. There'll be another one a little bit further down. It's amazing how these structures have stood the test of time. There's another one over there in the far distance. Yet the city itself is just in ruins. There are no other buildings left, just the foundations and the first few sets of stone. Here we have the outer walls of the Amphitheater. We'll see if we can take a look inside. Gladiatorial shows were extremely important for the ancient Romans. When games were being held, passers-by would hear the screams and shouts of the spectators, which filled the air. The clash of weapons and the noise of exotic animals attracted large crowds. The amphitheatre was the building where all the citizens of Paestum would go to see the shows of the gladiators. This is the entrance archway into what would have been the amphitheatre. I'm sure it'll all come back into focus once I'm inside. Now in the arena part. Nowhere near on the scale of what would have been in Rome at the Colosseum, but still quite impressive. Although the Greeks occupied the area, the city was actually built by the Romans after 273 BC. This is a Haroun, a celebratory monument to the first person that led the colonists into this area. Although his body was never laid to rest here, because burials were not allowed in the city, they had to be made on the outside. But this actually would go underground, was buried over the top, looking something like that. In there were artifacts including 8 vessels that contained honey. Very strange. This is the third of the great sandstone temples. How this is standing, I have no idea, but fantastic. Very well kept. It's hard to believe that these 3 monuments just overshadow everything else that's in this city. Terrific. This is the Temple of Athena, built in the 6th century BC, so 600 years before Christ. The building, like the others, survived the Roman occupation, and in the Middle Ages actually became part of a farmhouse. Absolutely fantastic, truly amazing how these buildings have stood for thousands of years. These decorations were taken from a tomb dating back to 350 BC. Just stunning. There's more that are taken from tombs. These are from around 320 BC. And if I zoom in, you can see just how fantastic the artwork is. This is the inside of what would have been a male and female burial tomb. Really well decorated. And these are what have been removed from the tombs. Just in fantastic condition. Beautiful. I mean, these were taken from tombs from around 350 BC. Just fantastic. Just perfect condition. All of these were taken from this tomb, which has been placed now in this museum. There's one of the walls, which is stood on its own, which allows us to look inside, and this is the tomb itself. This was for a man. These were taken from approximately 164 BC. Its bronze armour would have been for somebody of the age of about 17 to 20, including the dagger. These two walls date back to what could be around the 5th or 6th century. BC, sorry, 5th or 6th century BC. Just fantastic. This is called a cistern with painted slabs, with skeleton of a man and the grave goods. Warrior has a triple disc cuirass, 2 belts, a spear and a knife, together with a black glazed cup. The slabs are decorated with bands and simple plant motifs. A pomegranate, a wreath, a vine shoots with leaves. Here is a statue of Zeus dating back to the 6th century BC, so this would have been of Greek origin. It's a terracotta gutter in the forms of a lion. This would have been along the top of the Temple Hera, which we looked at earlier. Went around the top edge like that, so that's how it would have looked. This would have adorned the temple of Athena, more gutter. This is a terracotta roof found in fragments inside ditches belonging to a sacred building, constructed a few decades after the arrival of the first colonists. So this is Roman. And this would have been Greek. This is a best preserved piece of architectural terracotta. Clothings are edged in red bands and decorated with a series of black swastikas. Amazing condition. The colours are fantastic.